Thank you to our sponsors for today's video, Amber, StarCharge, Eaton, and InfyPower. Today's video is sponsored by Amber, providing modern protection plans for your Tesla's battery and more, without the hassle of long-term contracts or upfront payments. Check out the link in the description to explore their plan options and use code SPEC5 for a 5% discount on all plans. This video is also brought to you by StarCharge, the largest EV charging manufacturer in the world, and is also a provider of residential and commercial battery storage with microgrid solutions. And Eaton. Eaton is a one-stop shop for implementing reliable and innovative EV charging infrastructure at your site. Across all applications, Eaton's EV charging infrastructure, hardware, and software gives you the scalability, flexibility, and intelligence you need to charge today and scale up tomorrow. Learn more at eaton.com/EVCI. And InfyPower, the largest EV charger module provider with over 3 million power modules running reliably worldwide. Their latest G2 collection features ultra-high power density and efficiency for EV charging and energy storage integration. InfyPower, innovation for your power.
Cadillac is upping the IQ of their lineup. There's a lot of IQ happening in this courtyard. Cadillac is making some big IQ moves. Love. Nope, wait, that one makes sense, actually. Lyric, Optic, VISTIQ, Escalade IQ. Love completes the acronym. But then there's also Celestic. So clove, which is still a cool spice, so I'll let it slide. Anyways, yes, here we go. A first look, a very quick initial impressions look at the Cadillac VISTIQ. So yes, here it is, the Cadillac VISTIQ in all of its presence. I'm here at this really cool hidden studio doing a very quick first impressions. No driving, no charging, no nerdy testing, although I'm still gonna figure out what nerdy data I can on this thing. But this is kind of just a first preview of the Cadillac VISTIQ, which is, I guess, the 4th car now in the US, 5th car, I guess, with the Celestic, Clove again, that they're unveiling and showing us today. So, let's see what we can find out. Full walk around, full interior tour. I want to see everything I possibly can in this 30-minute slot with this really interesting new vehicle. So interesting could be a word for it, but we're going to start here on the exterior because that's the first thing you're actually going to notice. Interestingly enough, this is actually not the premium model. A lot of times at these showings, they'll show us like the most high-end possible thing. And it's interesting because we actually like to see what the base model is. And maybe that's what they're showing off as well, because you get a lot of things as standard here with the Cadillac VISTIQ. First, on the exterior, you have the biggest shield they have made yet. I mean, I'm trying to show you how big this appears on the actual camera. It's pretty huge, but it's very, typical Cadillac, very angular, jagged look and appearance. Although what's really interesting is I think Cadillac used to separate themselves from Chevy, with like Chevy being all curvy and Cadillac was all jagged. So now that Chevy's gone more jagged, what is Cadillac doing? Well, they're kind of becoming less jagged in some ways. They do still have the very clear, I don't know what you say, blade light on the side here, but it's actually not like the corner of the car, just kind of seamlessly moves in with the light. You have a 9-stack LED lights here. Yeah, I guess the cornering one on the very bottom, but otherwise it's a mixture of high and low beams. And this is like the sport trim. So there's 4 basic trims of the VISTIQ. You have the sport, the luxury, the premium luxury, and the platinum. So this is again the entry, I guess, model. This is equipped with 21-inch wheels. You can also get 22s, and then 23 is like an accessory option above that. So 23s on your, you could almost say, miniature Escalade. That's kind of how I'm viewing this, because it is 3-row. But this is kind of considered the global Escalade because it is slightly smaller than the Escalade IQ, which makes it easier to sell in the actual global markets. This sport trim does have pretty much everything blacked out, which actually I kind of like. So maybe for me, the sport trim with big 23s would be the cool way to go. But I'm okay with this, even with the 21. It still looks pretty decent. And I do like the black accents. Of course, the premium trims do give you a lot of more metallic accents, and so that's one way if you like more metallic stuff, more chrome maybe, which is maybe a slightly typical Cadillac thing. You do have 2-tone color mirrors, just like we saw on the Optic. we see this kind of cigar shape going down. You know, from the front here, looking down, that's where this really has, I think, the best angle. You have the roof line kind of dropping, but you have the water line, the shoulder kind of going up, and they kind of squeeze together near the end. Over on the end, you'll see the same effect that we saw with the optics. This is kind of Cadillac's signature little striation thing. I'm not sure exactly what it's called. They've mentioned a reverse tornado in the briefing, so maybe that's what they're going for. Either way, these are actually etched into the glass. It's not a physical thing you can feel. It's not something you can pull off if you don't like it. And it's kind of meant to be a bit of a feature. The sunlight kind of shines through and casts shadows, which is supposed to be a part of the design. We'll look at the interior here in a minute, but this is just, yeah, a signature element. Curious what you guys think of this. I'm torn. I do kind of like it. I do think it looks Cadillac. It's like a, you know, an iconic design element, but to the discredit, getting inside again, I think it inhibits the view of the rear passengers. So curious what you guys think of this element that is shared with the optic and other things like that. But nice thick D-pillar here, which is kind of reminiscent of like the CTS wagon, which I think is kind of cool. Cadillac, when are we gonna see an electric wagon? We know you can do it. That would be so cool to have an exported electric wagon from the US. Of course, similar taillights that we've seen before, very, very Cadillac. And you have this new moniker here, 900 E4, which is interesting. Let's actually take a look inside here. I don't actually know. Oh, pressing the badge, that's pretty cool. And storage, underfloor storage, always nice to see. This folds down, and of course you have buttons here for stowing. That's pretty cool. Oh, electrically stowing. Very cool. And that does the front side. And that does the rear side. Folds it all down. All automatic. Super cool. And that gives you ample storage space. You can see now here, this has the optional third row moonroof. Definitely love to see that. And the front glass, which does open. So you have your Cadillac with your huge opening sunroof, which is also very nice. See if these go back up. Yes, that goes back up. But the second row is not powered up, but that's all right. Just wanted to poke around on down back here, see what's here. Nice, like carpet everywhere. Wonder where this goes. I guess they may not want me to do that, but closing this back down. No button with the lock on the rear tailgate. It's kind of interesting. And sadly, no frunk to speak of because GM, I guess. Looking here at the charge port, it is powered. It is powered. There we go. And CCS1. Yes, so it is not launching with NACS. That may come in the future. There's no direct comment on that. But this is where you can plug in your CCS charger. Button there to close it. It is faster than some of the other charging flaps, so that's good to know. As we've noted, the Blazer is like the slowest one on earth. That doesn't bother me too much, although I kind of just prefer manual charge ports if I'm being totally honest. Got this little design element right here. But yeah, charging 190 kilowatt peak, as I mentioned, and they're saying 79 miles of range in 10 minutes, which is okay, but like significantly worse than like Taycan. But I know this is a bigger vehicle, so for a lot of people, I think that is really okay. That means like half an hour, maybe reading between the lines may give you like 150 miles of range, which for many families road tripping, that might be enough. I don't know. Either way, we'll see. I'm really curious to get our hands on this and like see how it does in our range test, our 10% road tripping simulation, and even our charging test. Although it should operate very similar to the Lyriq with the charging test. But the other things will be completely unique with this. What else am I missing here? Front camera. There is a night vision option. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But otherwise, it's just a fairly sizable, but not huge, three-row SUV. Not quite like the Escalade IQ, like I said, at the top of the lineup, but definitely bigger, more sizable, more for your, I guess, family who's optic intrigued, but wants more space. So that's why they have this. This is actually the exact wheelbase of the Cadillac Lyriq. And that's something I will refer to a few times because that is the actual platform this is based on. The Cadillac Lyriq gives you the 102 kilowatt hour battery pack. That's what this has, same exact battery. So NMC chemistry, 102 kilowatt hours usable, about 106.79-ish kilowatt hours gross. 400 volt architecture, so you're not looking at any crazy spicy charging, but this will charge at a peak of 190 kilowatts. Regen, don't know the number yet. We'll see if they give me that, but it is more powerful than the Lyriq. So the Lyriq gives you 500 horsepower, 450 pound-feet of torque. This thing is juiced up, 615 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque, and it goes 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds using velocity max mode, which makes me think of Max Verstappen. We'll see who of you like Max Verstappen, who of you hate Max Verstappen. Anyways, I digress. This thing is fairly spicy for a 3-row SUV, and that's standard. Every single trim, all 4 of those trims get that drivetrain. And there's not even a performance option like unlock. It's just, that's how it all comes, which is really kind of cool, actually. There is no 2-wheel drive version. You know, with the Lyriq, you get rear-wheel drive. With the Optic, you get a front-wheel drive. This is just always all-wheel drive. In fact, it's always, because they're both permanent magnet motors and there is no clutch disconnect. They're just always on.
Quick correction, Cadillac followed up after this and corrected themselves and told me it was an induction rear motor. So there may be some efficiency mode that happens on the highway or something where it just becomes sort of front wheel drive to be more efficient, basically just running the front motor, which is permanent magnet. This leads me to a point. These Cadillac events are kind of frustrating. Like I've said in this video, they gave me, you get 1 hour to first learn about the car, then talk to the individuals who are there, the product experts, and then film any sort of content with the car, all within 1 hour. Every other automaker gives you either more information up front or more time, or both. So I do apologize for the brevity of basically all of our initial first look Cadillac videos, because they all kind of end up like this. And they also don't usually know all the information when they let you see the car. So I also learned later that this car will get 300 miles of range, GM estimates. That's not an EPA estimate, that's not an official number, that's just GM is estimating about 300 miles of range, which is pretty good, honestly, for a vehicle this size with a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack, 102 kilowatt hours. We'll see if that's actually true. But hey, maybe they worked some efficiency magic and that's about what it gets. I mean, granted, the EV9 has about the same size battery and can also do almost 300 miles. So we'll just see how close we are to that. And of course, we'll be testing this whenever we can get our hands on one in the real world. Now back to the brief video.
Before we jump inside, I wanted to mention with this 21-inch wheel, I don't know all the designs of the other wheels, 22, 23, whatever. 23s are gonna look so sick on this. But rear steer, that's a totally new thing for this platform. Rear steer will allow for even more nimble turning radius, of course. So I can't wait to try that out. Rear steer, and then adaptive, air suspension. And there's also augmented reality and night vision. So augmented reality heads-up display should be really interesting, and a lot of you guys were curious when GM is going to really bring that to this. So those 4 things come into the higher trims. So again, sport, premium, or sport luxury. Then premium luxury is when those things become standard, and then platinum sits above that. But that's pretty much it for the exterior. Let's jump inside using the same door handles you saw on the Optic. So not the same handles as like the Escalade IQ. This is the flush situation. Wonder if I can force it to be flush. Nope, guess not. But it's like a reverse, it's almost suicide door of a door handle that opens with a normal door. It does also seem to be soft closed doors as standard, which is really cool. So a lot of standard features on this. That's something they really wanted to highlight. Jumping in though, let's see how this feels. They wanted me to be reminded that this is pre-production, so we won't maybe see everything final here. And yeah, okay, well, first off, here's my eye view, so I can't see the speedometer. Let's see if I can move up the steering wheel. There we go. Much better. Wow, this feels commanding. So up here, first of all, we have the digital rearview mirror. Love that. Wish Cybertruck had that. And we can open the moonroof, possibly. Yes, that's a vent. And then, oh, I guess this one is just slide. Oh, that might be the shade. Okay, well that doesn't, oh, it does work. Man, that is sweet. This is how I would drive my VISTIQ around all the time. Although this is just like so thick right here, so it's a very different approach than say Model X. But down here, let's focus on the software. They did say this screen will actually be angled up more in production, so that's one thing they're going to be working on, which I agree. From down here, it is pretty glaring with the sun and stuff. Let's look at the heating here. Turn on ventilated seat. Yes, please. Okay, that's probably not functioning yet either. Oh, it is. Okay. I'll let you know how the massage goes after I sit with it for a while. But the temperature situation, I guess we don't have heated or cooled seats yet. So that's a slight bummer. Although maybe, nope. Guess that's not enabled yet. It is early software, so that's something to point out. I'll touch on things, but like I can't do a whole software deep dive or anything until later. Just want to see what works, but none of the heating or cooling of the seat works. Not sure what this is doing, but nothing. Yeah, massage works, so I'll see how the massage is, and so far it's okay actually. It's not the best, but not the worst. One thing I wanted to really pay attention to was the center console feel, because with the optic, with the Lyriq, with a lot of other things, there was a severe complaint from us. Just how it actually felt, and I'm pleased to say this does feel a little bit better, but not much. Like it still feels a little creaky, but not as bad actually as the Lyriq or the optic. So using the software, pretty simple. And it is GM's, you know, Google stack situation. So there is no CarPlay, there's no Android Auto. But what's really cool, AKG audio system, 23 speakers, standard. Dolby Atmos, standard. They have not confirmed what apps are part of the actual Dolby Atmos, like which ones support it, but it is standard, which is so cool. Looking on the home here, it's just your typical Google stuff like we've seen with all the other things. I don't think there's anything really new in here. And some of it is not currently functional, but it is very snappy. Although, again, another comparison with Lyriq and optic, I don't find it necessarily bright enough, but it is the exact same screen, so that would explain it. 33-inch, I think, like 9K, something like that resolution, which is just silly to mention the resolution, honestly. It's just everything should be, you know, high enough resolution at this point. I just wish it was brighter. Okay, I'm not seeing anything about the lighting of the display. Lots of cool ambient lighting effects, and it looks like there are, whoa, a bunch of custom styles. That's pretty cool. Brightness. Okay, so you can adjust the brightness of the ambient lighting, maybe not the brightness of the display though. Slight miss there. But otherwise, interior feels good. Driving position feels baller. I have ample visibility, honestly, like pretty much everywhere. And even looking through the mirror, yeah, it's not too bad. It's dim, you can't really tell on the screen, but it does feel like surprisingly dark back there, even for having all this glass, which is kind of surprising to me. I guess it is maybe very heavily tinted. I don't know if that's going to be final production, if that's just how they're showing this one here. But yeah, we'll get back in the back here in a minute. But as far as just seating position and everything up front, feels great, feels very comfortable. I would honestly easily road trip this. Can't wait to try out the sound system. Like there's a lot we have to try out when we can actually get this. Do they show state of charge on the driver's display? That's something we also wanted to investigate, and right now it looks like roughly 75%, a little hair below that, estimating 227 miles of range. Not sure if that's a rated range thing or a guessometer or what the heck that is. But as far as everything goes with functioning, actually really nice tactile buttons. But it does seem to have a little bit of a delay between hitting the button and actually doing something on the screen. And I just don't think I love, oh, do not like these buttons. Like, I feel like you're gonna accidentally hit these all the time. And they are like haptic, taptic, capacitive control situations. Super strange. Adding VMAX puts that on the screen. That's kind of cool. So that's, I guess, your velocity max mode. And otherwise, it's got, you know, driver's assistance stuff. But look at that. I touched them once and all you see is fingerprints glaring at you. That is really rough. So not my favorite of that. You do have this similar pull paddle thing that we've seen in the other cars before. That will adjust your region on the fly. I believe it'll like let you squeeze and hold and bring in more and more region. It should do more region, I'm guessing, than the Lyriq, but they didn't know at the time of this, so they're gonna find that out for me. We'll see if they tell me. So you do get the heads-up display with augmented reality in the higher trims. Like I said, there's nothing on this one at all. Not even a little heads-up display. Oh, maybe a tiny one up there, but maybe it just shows speed. I don't know. It's not showing anything right now. And you also get night vision, which is really cool. Those both come in the higher trims. What is standard though is Super Cruise, completely standard on every trim, as well as 5-zone climate control, not just temperature, but like fan speed and temperature in front, left and right, middle, left and right, and rear seats, all individually controlled. Super cool. Looking at this screen, we have 3rd row here. Nice. So that's temperature and fan speed. And front, this screen's okay, but it's like kind of like the Taycan thing where it's like, I don't really love using it for some reason. And there is still no pet mode or camp mode or anything like that to be shown off, which is such a miss. And I feel like so many people want that. At least I think we do. I'm curious in the comments, you know, if you don't care about that, let me know. But controlling the vents, this controls the middle one by itself. That's like a huge, look at that. Look at that thing rotate in there. And then you have the other vents over here. Very interesting how they rotate, and this twist to operate thing. And let's go investigate the 2nd and 3rd row before they kick me out. Okay, jumping into the 2nd row. Actually super ample room, plenty of headroom as well. And let's see, take you on a quick tour around here. Yeah. Actually brighter in the 2nd row. 2nd row is my favorite row now, I think, having the open moonroof. And of course, when you close it, it'll get a little bit less tinted, which would make it a little bit brighter. In fact, I'll just do that really quick here. Closing that. Yeah, ironically makes it a little bit brighter, which is kind of nice. Still feels kind of dark though. I'd love to see like a light interior on this thing, but maybe that's something coming. I don't know all the options, all the colors. They really don't have all the information yet, but really is quite comfortable, quite spacious. Got a little bit of a padded armrest here. They said they're still finalizing material and stuff. Like there's a lot of cheap feeling plastic, which I don't think is actually final. But all the speaker grills look really nice. And of course, being Dolby Atmos, you have the height channels as well, which are very prominent and shown off here. Looks like 4 height channels, so I'm guessing it's kind of a like 7.1.4 situation for Dolby Atmos if you care. And then the 3rd row. Let's see. My friend Alex was just here. I gotta ask him how he fit. Technically, I fit. Technically. So I guess... Yeah, here I am. Okay, well, you have this bulge right here that kind of blocks some of the 3rd row, but I still love having the moonroof. This would feel really dark and cavernous without it. Interestingly, yeah, I don't have full headroom if I'm sitting up, but if I slouch, which is terrible posture, I'm actually totally fine. So that's kind of interesting. But you've got your vent controls back here. You've got your cup holder situations, which has the Cadillac chamfered edge. And some storage, maybe? This feels like it should open, but it's not on either side. So that maybe doesn't open, I guess. But even padded armrest back here, which is pretty cool. It is a 6-seater, no 7-seat to speak of. So I guess that's not an option, at least not with this. But that opens like that. That moves forward. Then I should be able to get out. I am curious. So if that's not as far back, I can actually sit here a bit more comfortably. So that's something to note. Now I'll get back up here. Ugh. Now this one's too far forward. Okay, there we go. That's my seating position here. Okay, so I can sort of sit behind myself, but it is a smaller-ish 3-row SUV, so I'll let that pass. Anyways, I've got like 3 minutes left. It's a very, very short first look at the VISTIQ, but I'm just trying to get an idea of where everything's going, how the fit and finish is, but again, it's pre-production, so that's kind of where we're at with that. But man, not too shabby. It seems fairly spacious. And yeah, I would drive this thing. Race to Vegas 3-row SUVs again. Now that there's a few more that have hit the market, maybe. Okay, that's it. Really quick look at the Cadillac VISTIQ. They're literally kicking me out. I only had a few minutes to film, so sorry for a quick first impressions. Let me know what you guys think of the VISTIQ, what else you want us to test. Of course, all of our usual stuff, but curious where you think this fits against the competition.
Yep, I didn't even have time for a real outro, but that is really it. That's a very quick first impression of the Cadillac VISTIQ, the global Escalade, as they are calling it. Really curious to see how it does in other markets, as well as our own market. I think it is actually pretty cool, but notably it is just not super big in the third row. It like defies some of the American expectations for like an American 3-row SUV. But we have to remember it's a smaller American 3-row SUV. That's why there's the Escalade IQ and stuff above it. And yeah, we know some of the specs. Like I said, we learned later that the range was about 300 miles, but we'll see if that's actually the case when it does come out. They're just really early on the numbers, I think. And the fact that they didn't have all the numbers when we actually filmed this makes me think they were still figuring that out. So I don't know if it's delayed or they're just pushing against the last second for the release. I'm not really sure. But we should start seeing these in 2025, in theory, the first half of the year. And we'll see how the different trims come out. There's 4 different trims, like I said. And all they said is the starting price is about 78 grand. They also followed up with pricing, but only as a starting price. We don't know any pricing of any of the other trims. So I guess the one I was looking at, the sport model, 78,000, including destination. So 77-ish is what they'll probably quote. And that should work with some tax credits, but even those could be changing now. There's a lot up in the air, as you can probably guess, with things that have happened in the US recently. So we'll find out. We'll report on it as always. But thank you guys for watching and hanging in there. I hope this brief first look is better than nothing. But it's, of course, not all the nerdy stuff we'd like to normally share. That will come with time. So can't wait to get our hands on the VISTIQ and the Optic and really do some fun testing. I'm intrigued by Cadillac. I think they're an interesting company, and their cars are comfortable, at least in the front row. Cheers.